Who caused the continuous, loud explosion? The stillness of the early morning was shattered by a thunderous explosion that rocked General Hospital to its core. The sound reverberated through the walls, sending shockwaves of panic through staff and patients alike. Smoke curled into the air as alarms blared, and the once sterile white halls were now coated in dust and debris. Dr. Evan Marshall, head of emergency services, was among the first to respond. His mind raced as he assessed the scene. 1 confirmed dead, 2 critically injured. The hospital's main corridor was barely recognizable, a gaping hole in the east wing exposing the lower levels to the open sky. Firefighters and paramedics flooded the scene, working frantically to contain the chaos. Who could have done this? Detective Serena Caldwell asked as she arrived on site, her gaze hard and calculating. She had dealt with high-profile cases before, but nothing this audacious. An attack on a hospital was an attack on the community itself. Is it terrorism? A gas leak? Sabotage? Murmured Nurse Olivia Reynolds, her hands trembling as she helped a dazed patient onto a stretcher. The initial reports ruled out an accident. The explosion's pattern suggested a deliberately placed device. But who would target a hospital and why? The victims. The fatality was later identified as Daniel Grayson, a respected anesthesiologist. The 2 critically injured were surgical nurse Jenna Hall and a visiting businessman, Lucas Wright. The connection between the victims was unclear, which deepened the mystery even further. Dr. Marshall couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't random. As he scanned the hospital's security footage alongside Detective Caldwell, they discovered something chilling. Dr. Grayson had been standing in the exact spot where the explosion originated. Had he been the target? Secrets unravel. As investigations unfolded, secrets long buried within the hospital walls came to light. Dr. Grayson, it turned out, had been involved in an ongoing malpractice lawsuit. A grieving family had accused him of negligence after the unexpected death of a patient months ago. Could this be revenge? Then there was Jenna Hall, a nurse with a troubled past. She had recently confided in a colleague about a dangerous mistake in the OR, a mistake that she believed had been covered up. Was she collateral damage, or had she been silenced? Lucas Wright's involvement was the most puzzling. A businessman with no apparent ties to the hospital, he had been meeting with the board regarding an upcoming expansion project. Was it possible that someone wanted that project stopped at any cost? The culprit revealed. It was security footage from the parking lot that finally cracked the case. A hooded figure was seen entering through the employee entrance just minutes before the blast. The figure moved with purpose, placing a small device along the wall before vanishing into the shadows. When the suspect was finally identified, the revelation sent shockwaves through the hospital. It was Dr. Grayson's own assistant, Miles Carter, a man who had worked closely with him for years. When confronted, Miles broke down, confessing that Dr. Grayson had knowingly falsified reports to cover up a mistake that cost his sister's life. Fueled by grief and unable to get justice through legal means, he had taken matters into his own hands. Aftermath. The tragedy left scars that would never fully heal. The hospital mourned the loss of Dr. Grayson, while the injured fought for survival. Miles Carter was taken into custody, but his actions left lingering questions. Was this an act of revenge, or was he exposing a system that had failed? As the debris was cleared and the hospital prepared to rebuild, one thing was clear. The secrets buried within its walls had finally come to light, and nothing would ever be the same again.